Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Chrono Trigger where we're about to fight Lavos. Only it showed the dragon tank when we first encountered it. A little weird, but basically the easiest way to do this situation is prepare all your best stuff on all your characters, golden earrings, golden studs, whatever you may have. You don't really need too much at this point because Lavos is just testing you. Very shortly after fighting the dragon tank version of Lavos here, it'll become readily apparent that each one is just one of the main bosses that we fought before, and their gimmicks are just exactly how they were. That being said, if we actually bookmark our game here, it is very funny we just kind of bookmark the game and then we just go back in right away. The PC version kind of has like a weird thing where it changes the music. I don't know why, it is hilarious to me. But the nice thing about having the PC version with the bookmark is that if I were to say die at this point, I can start literally right here. No big deal. I don't have to bother with like any of the issues of having to go through the entirety of the bosses from the Black Omen once again. That being said, let's just head right on into this first version of the fight where it's just the dragon tank, so we have these two things on the side here. I'm just going to get rid of it by using Delta Force. It's not going to be that big of a deal. It's just going to go away or like right away. And I'm going to shuffle my party along to just get everybody have some sort of use for this final battle. And in this case, I immediately wrecked it because it has like no health in the dragon tank form. Now it's actually going to swap attack forms once again to the Guardian along with the bits from 2300 AD. This fight isn't that big of a deal as well. So again, we could go into our equipment and see what we got. Just make sure that you're all topped off on like all your characters for each one of these fights if they do give you any sort of trouble. But honestly, you're probably going to go through most of these in one hit anyway. So it's not that big of a deal because it starts off really easy, then kind of ramps up because you are basically going from the beginning bosses to the later bosses in the game. And honestly, just swap out your party. Just find out which combinations you want to use for Lavos in general. You can sit there and just use whatever you need to. And just kind of get an idea. In this case, I'm just using Robo. I'm just going to do Supersonic Spin and then just kind of wreck this section as well. They go down really quickly because they don't have a lot of health either. Except for this, I just shoot it once and now it should be good. Yep, it broke down and Lavos' face messes up and it changes attack modes once again to the Hekron. The Hekron fight, if you actually recall, you needed to use magic to beat it because this is the point where you got magic from the end of time. So I'm just gonna swap out my party to have like decent enough magics to go on. So I have Robo with Electrocute. That is something I'm gonna be doing like right away. And I could just swap out my party to like anybody that has magic in this case. Luca has good fire magic, Robo has good electric and shadow, and Marl just uses water and all that. So I'm just gonna use Electrocute. It's probably gonna be enough to get rid of it right away because Robo again is just a beast at this point. So this ought to do it, and it just kind of shows off all your parties and like how strong they are and such. It's pretty nice. And now we have another attack mode change once again. This time around, we have Zombor. So, this battle, I am actually going to use Frog. Luca's already in my party, so Luca and Chrono. There we go. And we're gonna go in, and everybody's pretty much all up to snuff, so I'm just gonna go and fight the thing. And now, I know this is stupid, but I'm doing it anyway, because half of the thing actually absorbs this element that I'm doing, so it's like, oops. But not a big deal there. It's still gonna get rid of one of them, no problem. There we go, MP Buster, that's gonna hit Luca. And it's down, so all we got left is this one right here, which I could just swing at it, hit it a couple times, and it's down. There we go. Changes the attack modes once again, and we have Masamune. So this fight, I am going to have, not Tex, I'm gonna have Chrono, Ayla, and Frog. There we go. Everyone is pretty much all set for this, so let's go right on in. And now for this one, I'm going to use 3D attack. And that's the fight. And now we have Nizbel, the first. So this battle is actually kind of like a little bit iffy. You remember how this one had the lightning issue where you need to do lightning first? So in this case, we're going to do Ayla. Magus wasn't here for this, but we might as well have him have a little bit of stuff going on too. And Robo. So what we're going to do for this is just make sure everyone's good. Robo is slightly parched. very slightly parsed. Might as well just top them off really quickly. We're gonna head on in. So for this fight, we're gonna have, not you, we're gonna have Magus do lightning. Ayla is gonna top off Robo. Am I on Robo? I'm not on Robo. And then I'm gonna have Rapid Fire Fist. There we go. And that's the battle. For the next one, we have Magus. Which, for this fight, I'm gonna have Magus. It seems a little weird, but I definitely I think he's like the best counter to himself. I mean, I guess it makes sense. You know yourself, so I'm just gonna do that. I'm gonna make sure that Luca is topped off here because MP Buster kind of hit her earlier. There we go. Because you know how the Magus fight works, right? Basically, you hit him with any magic, or you just kind of hit him in general, and he does something, and he changes his stuff. So you can kind of get an idea of what his phase is. So I'm just gonna kind of whack him, and he's like, oh, barrier change, what is he gonna do? Well, first Lavos is going to attach his face. He does lightning, but also you remember that Frog, whenever he attacks something, Magus was weak to the Master Moon at the lower to the magic defense, and it did lightning, right? So now it's on lightning, so I just do lightning, and just do a ton of damage there. Have that go a little bit faster. And yeah, once we get Magus down to about half of his health, which normally had 6,666, doing about 3,333, he won't swap modes anymore. And Lavos effectively does the same. So at this point, we could just do whatever, do a ton of damage. And this honestly is gonna do quite a bit on its own, so we could just check that out. Yeah, that's a lot. And then we could probably just get rid of him by attacking one time, and that'll be it. Another attack mode. Zala and the Black Tyranno. So for this fight, I'm actually gonna swap out for not in Tex. We're gonna do Chrono, not Magus, Robo, and Ayla. So you kind of know what I'm going to do here for this one. I'm just gonna go in, and you can kind of see a Zala on the side there. Yeah, how we took care of this fight back then was we got rid of Zala with physical strikes, basically the dual text with Ayla, and just, okay, I'm gonna have to wait for this to go through. And then once Zala was gone, we'll just do Rapid Fire Fist or any strong attack that we have once the Black Tyranno portion starts doing the yell with the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Because its defenses will be lowered at that point, we'll just wreck it. So it's essentially the same deal here. So just do all your good moves on Azala. Just make sure that you are doing physical on it, just so you do a ton of damage, and she should go away really quickly. Past that, just gotta do a little bit of hits here and there, get it auto to go a little bit faster, and then swoop, a little bit of damage. Honestly, I'm not really doing as much as I would like. Maybe if I do electrocute, I would do a little bit more damage, because I do remember her being like a little bit susceptible to electricity. We'll just do that really quick, and then bam, yep, that ought to do it. Okay, yeah, we got that going on, which that would inflict sap on our characters who didn't have the status immunity on after that happened, so that would be a problem with Robo, but you know, I could just heal Robo up and be fine. So we're just gonna wait a little bit until it starts lowering defense and stores power, which it just did. So I'm just gonna start whacking it. So now we got the Rapid Fire Fist going off, so that's gonna do well over 5,000 damage again. And now just a little bit more. Honestly, I could do Cat Attack, I could do Triple Kick. I'm going to do Triple Kick in this case, and then Frenzy. That should do enough, and if not, I have a Rapid Fire Fist in store as well, which will then definitely be way more than enough. All right, quite a bit of damage right there. And then a Punchy. And that ought to do it. And now we have Giga Gaia. Basically, this is just Lavos testing us, as you can tell. But as you can tell as well, if we look at the lineup over here, they're perfectly lined up for me. So what I'm actually going to do is I have multiple options for this fight. So I'm going to have Luca, I'm going to have Chrono, and Ayla. So for this, I'm just going to make sure I am topped off because I've been using a lot of stuff. There we go. And yeah, we are good to go there. So we just go in. And we have two options here. I could do Inferno, or I could also use Falcon Strike, because now, unlike the original Giga Gaia, Falcon Strike would only hit one, but now they're actually lined up for me here, so I could just do that as well and just do a ton of damage. So either way, it's nice. So I can just do this while I wait and get a little bit more damage out, and just do that, and then just do a ton of damage, and then just do this if I want. do some more damage here and there. Both of the arms already gone. All we have left is just you in the center there. So what I'm going to do now is a little bit of a blaze kick. I can do a gallon kick if I want, but I don't necessarily need to. Because this is a lot of damage by itself. So just do this. And this ought to be it. Oh, he's mad now. So, for this particular fight, I would definitely recommend having all your best characters that you are most comfortable with. In this case, for me, it would probably be Robo and Marl, because Robo, I can get the heal beam off pretty easily, and then Marl also has backup cures. Chrono has a rise, so I can use that if I really need to. I have options. Plus, that combo gives me lifeline if I really need it. So I could just use that, and then somebody dies, I come right back. It's not a big deal for me. That is the ones I'm most comfortable with, but Ayla has been really good for me this entire game. I think anybody's really good. It doesn't really matter who you have, as long as you're comfortable using them and your party lineup works for you. Like if you have triple attacks, dual attacks, things you're comfortable with. Past that, for your equipment, just make sure you have high magic defense, as well as status immunity with at least one person if you don't have multiple status immunities, and maybe haste if you want it, like from the dead beginning of the battle. That would really help get off some good healing. The reason I say have high magic defense is because he will start off with Destruction Rains from the Heavens, which is the exact same thing he did in the Ocean Palace way back when. That killed us in one hit back then. With our high magic defense now, we can survive it. But if we have low magic defense, he might be close to death, so just make sure that you have a good heal beam or slurp kiss or whatever healing you might have, even lapis or even a mega elixir. And then here comes the status immunity reason, because you can inflict confuse on your entire party of Chaos Zone, which can be a bother, but if you have ways around that with panaceas, use them. Or if you have other options, just status immune on everybody, you're fine. So now I'm going to use Lifeline in order to get everybody to have a possible, oh hey, they just died, so then they come right back buff. That'd be really nice. He also has Earthquake, which is not very strong, but he could also just do Lavos Needle as well, which will just stab one character. It's essentially the same thing as Destruction Rains from the Heavens. It's just one person only. So it's like, uh-oh, I need to cure that person right away. But it's really not that big of a deal on this fight. Just use all your strongest techs. He doesn't really have any defenses on any of the things. Just use your best stuff, and you're pretty much good to go. So I'm just going to do Rapid Fire Fist, and again, that's just going to do a ton of damage. You have Ayla in your party, you just know what to use with her. Frog can do some good stuff with his Massive Moon if you have the critical hits going. Magus, he does have a couple good magic spells like Dark Matter and stuff like that will work and do a ton of damage. And Luca has Flare, so there's also that. Either way, this fight isn't hard. It's just a kind of a skill check at this point. He only has like 10,000 HP, so he will go down really quickly. I just realized I used haste on the wrong person already. Oops. Either way, it doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. At this point, I'm pretty much all set. I'm just going to make sure everybody is good and healed. So just a little bit of a cure on Robo and then a Rapid Fire Fist. I'll do it for my combo here. And then maybe, just in case, I'll get a Frenzy off of Chrono. Other than that, this is pretty much the fight. I think I'm done with just this one punch right here. Unbelievable! I detect even more powerful life force within Lavos' shell. We must enter the interior and destroy its core. We're in pretty deep. According to my sensors, we are close to the core. This is very creepy. Very creepy. But you do have this. If you use the Black Omen to get here, this will appear. And it lets you leave. If you want to stock up on any healing items, get any extra leveling if you think you might need it, if the battle outside was a little bit hard for you, this is your opportunity to do so. If you use any other method to get here, you won't have this. So just keep that in mind. But we also have this save point right over here, which means I could use a shelter. And this is your last chance to make sure that your party lineup is actually pretty set for this. So just go through all your equipment, make sure that you're good to go. Make sure you have everything you want. Status protection would be nice, but you gotta keep in mind as well that Lavos actually does have a way of getting rid of status protection. I will explain that when that happens. just to make sure that it doesn't happen. I don't know if I actually might not get it or not. It could be iffy. But yeah, we're good there. We're good there. I have the golden stud. I have status protection here, and I have magic defense. I think I'm pretty good with those characters. And then, yeah, I have magic defense plus 9. Yeah, I got that. And I got 2. Yeah, it's, yeah, I got 2 on him. And then I even have that. So, yeah, I'm just doing a ton of damage outright. You could really use anybody for this fight coming up. I'm going to stick with this because I'm, again, most comfortable with it. But some people would want to use, like, the tried and true of Chrono, Mara, and Luca. Honestly, I would use that, too, if I wanted to be, like, really story pedantic about it. But anybody's really good for this fight. And if you, again, are not comfortable with how the battle went outside, you can leave and just come back using the bucket or even going here through the epic. I would use the bucket, though. You won't lose anything if you do. Either way, let's go forward. This must be Lavos! Amazing. It possesses the DNA of every organism that has ever dwelt on this planet. Lavos is a bit of a doozy of a fight. It usually starts off the battle with laser beams, where it uses both of its hands in order to open its chest to shoot lasers at us. That's magic damage, and we want to make sure that we just heal that right away using Heal Beam, or just Slurp Kiss, or Lapis, or Megalix, or whatever we may have that just doesn't feel real on our party. Not a big deal there. What we want to do is just do a bunch of group attacks to hit everything on the screen. Unlike the Queen Zeal fight where we just left the hands alone, we actually want to get rid of the hands here. While the body does have 20,000 HP, the hands have considerably less than that. The one on the right has a little bit more than the left. We kind of want to get rid of them evenly, though. Just make sure that you're attacking both of them with all your big screen nuke attacks. That's all you really need to worry about. The hands themselves can just sit there and do physical damage on you with Cutter. And if you get rid of one of the hands, they have a chance to do Life Grip, which will just heal the center body, or try to curse you, which will get rid of your status immunity. That can be a problem because the hands can also use Immobilize on you, which will do Stop. That's a bother and really annoying. So just make sure that you're just doing all your big screen nukes in order to get rid of that. Past that, we have the body, which has a thing that's, it gets his body ready or body activated, which just allows it to start other body attacks, such as like Dark Will, which will try to get us confused, or Unborn Grace, which will try to poison us. Those just do magic damage, but they're considerably weak attacks. We don't have to worry there. Otherwise, it has Flames of War and Crystal Explosion, which are both fire damage. Crystal Explosion, only one of the arms needs to be alive for. And the other one, Flames of War, you can just have a chance of doing that regardless. Flame damage isn't really that big of a deal at this point in the game, so you don't have to worry about that too much. Just make sure that you're topped off at all times and you're fine. The worst thing that I can do, though, is Dark Flame's Embrace, which is a physical attack, which can do a ton of damage on you if you don't have a lot of defenses. So just make sure you're ready on that one. Past that, it also has Evil Emanation, which now that both the hands are gone, it's going to start trying to do that. That's a buff that he keeps doing over and over and over again, which will increase his damage. And then you'll just do Dark Flame's Embrace on us and probably kill us. So it's a little bit of a uh-oh moment. You just gotta sit there and just wail on it until it's dead. Again, it only has 20,000 HP, so just make sure you're using all your big attacks at this point. So I'm just gonna do like stuff like Frenzy, my Rapid Fire Fist, make sure that Robo is topped off so I can just do all my good punchy punches. You know how this goes for me at this point. Other character recommendations at this point, honestly, I would say Luca, just continue to use Flare, Napalm Bomb, just stuff that just hits the target. You're gonna be doing damage no matter what with her. Ayla, just make sure you're using stuff like Cat Attack or Triple Kick. Just as long as you're doing tons of damage, that's what you want to be doing. Frog, just continue just wail on it with the Master Moon if you have it on still. It's just going to do tons of damage, critical hits, things like that. And then Magus, just kind of use his big spells that just nuke the screen constantly. Either way, he's going to do tons of damage, and it's probably going to be better off than his physical attack. And eventually, after just a couple more turns of just wailing on it, just doing your tons of damage, you are probably going to get rid of it. There's Dark Flame's Embrace, which honestly at this point, it looks bad. It might do a ton of damage on me, but yeah, that's not terrible. I can get rid of that with a Heal Beam and then just have... do I need a heal anymore? No, I think I'm fine. I'm just going to do Ice 2 and then Frenzy. Past that, this is pretty much the battle. I think I'm all set after this Frenzy. Let's find out. Nope. Okay then. I don't have MP actually, so Ether, and then Rapid Fire Fist, and that's the battle. More than likely, that's the battle. That was Lavos' goal. Storing and analyzing the genetic code of every creature on the planet. He aimed to use it all to induce self-evolution into the ultimate form of life. This thing is the reason we're all here? His offensive capabilities are incalculable. My sensors are overheating. This planet is our home. Lean's, Doan's, everyone's. And we're taking it back. I was given life by human hands. But life is life. I am no different from Luca and the others. This planet is my home. So, since the dawn of time, it has slept underground, guiding the evolution of this planet's life towards its own foul purpose. Elo no run, hate lose, hate run more! We were but sown for him to reap, all of humanity. Or rather, all life on this planet. Ayla no lose, this Ayla home! Not Lavos home, Lavos lose! At last, our final meeting. Your life ends here! Now I understand. It lives on a planet for as long as possible, selecting the most desirable life forms, allowing them to advance and then harvesting their DNA. The young it gave birth to on Death Peak must have all that DNA. Eventually they'll migrate to other planets and then repeat the cycle. It's a parasite, sleeping within the Earth all this time, stealing all of our progress. Such a vile being. We do not live for your ends. Impossible. You can't toy with an entire world and think I'll let you get away with it. Murderer. Will not be used by the likes of you. Welcome to the real final battle against the Lavos core. We have 3 targets once again. So the one on the left there, it has 4 different things it can do. It could heal the center like it just did. It can attack us for a little bit of damage, kind of meager. It could do evil touch on us, which was just steal MP from us. Or it can curse us, which will get rid of status immunity. That's annoying, so we want to get rid of it with a strong physical attack like we just did. If you do any elemental damage on it, it will heal. So that's kind of annoying. We don't want that to happen. And now that we got rid of the left pod, eventually it's going to show up a message on screen. So I'm just going to do a little bit of a frenzy on the center here. Because the right pod will lower its defenses. But the reason why it says that is because the right pod has 30,000 HP. The center has 10,000. The right pod is actually the core. He's hiding himself in the pod instead of the little decoy in the front. That is just a decoy. All that thing can do is just Heavenly Tears, which is lightning magic on a single target, or Punch, which is physical damage on a single target. So it just heal up whenever those happen because it does a lot of damage. The right pod will either attempt to resurrect the left or the center thing. It'll use Obliterate on us, which will just do a little bit of physical damage on somebody. That one's not too big of a deal. Or it'll do Temporal Shift. Temporal Shift will give the center pod, or the decoy, tons of different abilities. First one it'll give us will actually depend on what it shows in the background. If it shows Lean Square in the background, it'll do Diabolic Whisper, which is a physical all attack. It'll just hit everybody and apply a random debuff to us. That is kind of annoying. But if it shows Magus' Castle in 600 AD, it'll do Demon Star, which will have everybody's HP. It's basically like the ball attack thing that a lot of the other things did, like the golems, for example. That can be annoying, but you can just heal that right away. If it shows the hunting range in 65 million BC, it will do Brand Stone, which is the ultimate physical attack it can do, and that does a ton of damage, and that's something you really want to heal right away. So make sure that your defenses are pretty high on that one, and you have pretty decently high health. It also will do Dream Reaver if it shows the ruins in the background of 2300 AD. That's essentially its ultimate magic attack. That doesn't do as much as Grand Stone, but it can have the potential to do a ton of damage. So just make sure that whenever you see those goes off, you just get ready on the healing. And it has one more that it can do, which that one doesn't really happen that often because it's a combo that it needs to have all 3 things alive to do, called Unholy Light. That is just a lightning attack on everybody, and it will just apply slow as well. It's not that strong of an attack though, so that one you don't really have to worry about too much. It will show the Man-Man machine in the background on that one. Unfortunately, that is one that's very, very rare to see, so it might not happen. It might, who knows? In my case, I haven't had a single one of those happen at all this entire time. So I'm just going to sit here and just keep wailing on this thing constantly until I get rid of it. I don't do that much damage, unfortunately, compared to like the other stuff, because it does have high defenses, but it does lower it if everything else is dead. So that's something to keep in mind. But once you get to this point, just make sure that you get rid of the left pod first when they come back. Get rid of the center if you don't want it to be sitting there attacking you with this stuff. And then just get rid of the right pod as quickly as you can. Make sure you're topped off on health and MP, and you should be good to go. This is the final battle, so you can use those Mega Elixirs to your heart's content at this point. I know a lot of RPGs, a lot of people are like, oh, I'm not going to use them because it's like, I don't know when the final battle is going to be. This is the final battle. Go ahead and use them. Don't worry about it. You can get plenty more of them if you like just play New Game Plus or whatever. You don't have to worry about that anymore. Just use them. They are there. It'll make this battle much easier if you're constantly healing your MP and your HP at the same time. So don't worry about it too much. On the other hand, I am kind of getting sick of that pod being alive, so get off my screen, please. Thank you. And now, to get rid of the center one, if I want, or I can wait until it lowers his defenses, but I'm going to get rid of the center one because that can be a hassle too. As long as Robo has high enough health, I can just do half his damage in one go and just get rid of it really quickly. And now that this one is going to be having its defenses lowered, I'm going to be wailing on it like crazy, and it eventually will go down. I'm not really too worried about healing at this point. I'm just going to top off Marl just in case, but I should be getting rid of this thing really soon. When all the enemies are on the field, moves like Falcon Strike is pretty decent because you just kind of goes through them right away. But remember, the left one absorbs elements, so just don't use those and you should be okay. All right, one more rapid fire fist ought to do it. Or Marl can just shoot it. Okay, that works too. Bye-bye. You, wake up and get your wretched body out of bed. Your stay of execution has been withdrawn. You will accompany us to the castle now, where we will carry out your sentence. We've been searching high and low for you, Chrono. Where did you take my daughter? Daddy, no! Chrono hasn't done a thing! My daughter says Chrono has done nothing. What do you think of that, Chancellor? If I may speak freely, Your Grace, I think your daughter is clearly quite delusional. Chrono's deeds have impacted the entire kingdom. The Chancellor, too? What's the matter with you? Please, just listen to me. There's a reason I've been gone. You see, we had to save the future. What? You save the future and tell us what it is to have hope. You defeated Magus' troops and restored peace to the realm in the year 600. Colonel beat Reptites. What's going on? Why are you all here? Nadia, you brought them here, didn't you? You undertook quite a daunting mission. These past and future members of our line told me all about it. Members of our line? You mean these people are all my ancestors and descendants? Kira was fussing about rules when you were all protecting our kingdom and the life of our entire planet. So, yeah, Kino and Maro are related by ancestry. And same with Doan. Kinda weird how that all works out. I believe a victory parade is in order. Tonight we celebrate you, the hero who saved the world. Now, Nadia, why don't you go and enjoy the last night of the fair? Come along with Chrono, our hero! Come along with Princess Nadia, home safe at last, and Guardia prosper for another 1,000 years. Let the Moonlight Parade begin! So, now that we're back here, we can move around freely. And we can't enter our menu at all. Welcome to the ending. Honey, don't you be a sack of potatoes, dance with me. Oh, Chrono, the king says you saved the future. To think, my daughter's own best friend. Wait till I tell my friends. Ah, nothing's better than a toast under the stars. Chrono, have a sip, you're the hero today. It's nice that she's also back on her feet. I can't believe it. They say you saved the world, but still, I do wish you would spend a little more time around the house. Maybe a little bit. It's terribly troublesome having no one around to look after the pets. Princess Nadia, you look beautiful. No, don't get me wrong, honey. You look good too. This is fantastic. That's all you have to say. I can't talk to you because you're behind the wall. And I can't get to that side. I don't suspect there will be much need for weapons anymore. My days as a smith may be at an end. But looking up at that beautiful sky, it's hard to be worried about something like that. And that's pretty much everybody I can talk to. Nobody I can click on, so let's head forward. Nobody to talk to over here. If I head over here, the pathway is now blocked. I can't go fight Gato one more time. A bit of a shame since I could get more silver points, but oh well. And over here we have another blocked area. We can't go that way either, so no more dancing. All we have to do is just move forward from here. Well, everyone, this is it. The time of parting is upon us at last. The gate is growing weak now that Lavos is gone. We gotta say our goodbyes before the gate closes for good. You're all leaving. Chrono's strong, Maro's strong too. Ayla, have fun. You're my distant ancestor, so you better have strong, healthy kids or I'll be in trouble. No worry, Ayla much energy. Yeah, she does. Wait, what do you mean by that? Kino dumb, Ayla go now. Exuberant folk, and to think we may all have descended from them. Well, your majesty, Queen Lean awaits. We too should take our leave. Frog. I've always felt farewells were best kept brief. You're right. Who needs words? Aw, you know it's a happy ending when the princess kisses the frog. So, you're going to search for Shala? Luca, I will keep working hard in the future. What's wrong, Luca? Aren't you going to say goodbye to Robo? So, you realized. Realized what? Robo was born in a bleak future. When we defeated Lavos, we changed history. The world will never be ruined now. Robo may not exist in the new future. Haha, do not be ridiculous. The new future will certainly have a place for me. Darn it, Robo, don't pretend you don't care when you're really sad. It just makes things worse. You are the one who taught me to consider the feelings of others in that manner, Luca. I am grateful for that. Don't cry, Luca. I'm sure Robo will still be built in the new future. Goodbye. Caution, oil has occluded my vision sensors. Sight diminished. Do you remember that talk we had? You mean about whether our lives flash by before we die? Yeah, I get the feeling that entity is finally at rest too. Yes, I feel it too. It's awfully easy to mess things up traveling through time. We should probably dismantle the epic, shouldn't we? We'd never be able to see any of the others again, though. You naughty thing, come back here! See, Chrono? Pets run away when you don't feed them. Hey, come back here! Oh no, Chrono, that gate will never open again! Well, looks like we have no choice but to go after them. Go after them? But the gate's already... Luca, you don't mean... You still have the time machine. Oh, there you are, Princess. His Grace is looking for you. I'm happy, you know. Now there's no reason for you to be running off anymore. I have a gift for you, Nadia, to commemorate this day. This is Nadia's bell. It will ring out across the land. Pretty, isn't it? Nadia, could you, and where did everyone go? Could someone please lend me a hand? Thanks for the gift, but I have places to be. Phew, I made it just in time. Shall I fire a few off? No, Taven, not now. Actually, I could really use your... And that, everyone, was Chrono Trigger, one of the best RPGs ever made. And I can say that for certain. This game is amazing from top to bottom. Everything about it, story, the graphics, the music, everything was done with so much care. And there's not many games like this anymore. This game, honestly, to me, was one of the earliest RPGs I remember playing, and I loved every second of it. Even back then, I didn't really understand all the mechanics that well, and I still had like a really fun time with it. I loved everything about it. Back then on the Super Nintendo, like the translation wasn't the best, but I do know people do prefer that one a lot. And I do really like the fact that they like redone the translation in the DS version onward. I mean, it does add a lot of nuance to the game. But there are some changes that people don't like the new anime cutscenes. Some people don't like them. I think they're there, and it's nice to have. It does expand the story to a point where it's not like too in your face about it. It is nice. But also, I do feel this game is the perfect starter RPG for anybody looking to get into RPGs. If you want to play this game, I would recommend either finding the DS version if you can, or playing the Steam port. The Steam port or the mobile version is the most accessible version of the game out there. There is some flaws with it, but nothing that's really too distracting. Like, you start the game off just waking up in bed. No big deal, you are in the eyes of Chrono. You go through and you're just talking around, you are mashing the confirm button, finding out what people are having to say. You find the tutorial. You learn how the mechanics of the game work through a tutorial. It is well written, well described, and it kind of gets you in line for how the game works. And then you go through the forest, can't really do anything over there. So you go back and you keep exploring. And then you get to the fair and you just do all the stuff in the fair you can. You find Marl and then you just keep exploring the place like she wants. And then to the left of the fair, you have the perfect introduction on how to play an RPG. You get all the setup in a battle that has zero consequence for losing. And when you're going through this battle as well, you notice how counters work when some enemies are close and you attack them and he counters back. You learn how techs work because you can sit there and learn the techs by doing this battle over and over and over again until you get the gist of how the battle system works. Then you go off to the right, you go back down, you see the shops, you see the mini games, you notice that you got silver points for beating Gato. And then in the upper right, you notice a little dance game with all the little buttons. You got all these things to prepare you for how this game works. And then you go north and then you get into the real RPG. You get into the meat of it because now the training wheels are off. And I love that game for that. I just described the beginning of the game. The rest of the game too is just flat out amazing throughout every single second of it. And I didn't even get to the trial where everything that you do in the beginning of the game actually affects how the trial goes. And that's even more amazing because it just teaches you that stuff that you do in the game has consequences here and there. Such as with the sealed chest later on. It is just insane how well this game works for a starter RPG, and I love every single second of it. And I can sit here and gush so much longer, but these credits aren't much longer, honestly, so I'm probably gonna shut up now and just let the credits finish up, and I will see everybody on more Chrono Trigger. There is still way more left to do in this game, despite the fact that I beat it. I still have all the Dimensional Vortex stuff, all the DS content to do, but there's also more stuff to do in the main game proper. I mean, it's mostly New Game Plus stuff at this point, but still, there's just so much content that even that I beat the game already, I still have more to do. So, with that, next time Azure plays more Chrono Trigger, I will see you all then.